dun, dun. One block definitely, 2 blocks if you've got it. Have a little wall or back of a chair or something nearby, just so you can hold on to it if you need to when we do a little bit of balance stuff. And I think that's all you need. I might change my mind. So let's, I'm going to take my shoes off, my slippers. Let's come down into constructive rest pose, come down onto your backs with your knees bent and your feet flat to the floor. Yep. Settle your pelvis and arrange your shoulders, get yourself comfortable. And then start to find that diaphragmatic breath. You can place your hands around your ribs if it helps you sense the movement here. So just sort of switching straight away into that diaphragmatic breath will slow down your breathing. And just start to think of the speed in which the breath is entering the body, so make it slow. Allow for the abdomen to be soft on your inhalation. And feeling how towards the end of the exhalation, there's a little more contraction. Just feel that difference of softness and slight work. And see if you can balance those two out. Balance out your inhalation and exhalation. Just keep your breath going at the pace that you want it to be at. And if you haven't, just have the knees bent so that the feet are flat to the floor. And I want you to just sense your feet. Sense your feet without effort. Maybe you've got socks on, which is fine. Maybe you can feel the material of your socks. Maybe you can feel the texture of your mat. And just without changing anything, you might have your knees dropping together, so your foot position will be different. You might have them apart. Just without changing anything, if your feet had been sort of stamped on an ink pad, what would their imprint look like right now on the floor? Are you able to sense each of the toes pressing against the mat, or do you have more awareness of different parts of your feet? Just notice what you feel. And then you may need to just walk the feet a tiny bit further forward to do this. You may not. So see how you go. We're going to move to lift the heels up. So as you lift the heels up, just feel that contraction through your calf muscles and feel that you're on the balls of the feet and the toes. And then staying on the balls of the feet, can you lift up all of your toes? And just sort of see if that's possible, both feet, where you feel the weight is on your feet or pressure. And then keep those toes lifted as you land the heel back down. Just nice and slow. And keep those toes lifted as you lift the ball of the foot off the floor, so you're just on the heels. Again, if it's hard, just walk the feet forward a little way. And then keep the toes lifted as you land the ball of the foot back down, so your heels are down, the ball of the foot's down. And lift the heels up, so you're just on the ball of the foot. And if you want to go a little stage further, land the toes and then lift the ball of the foot up. So you're doing like a real pointy toe. It might give you a bit of arch cramp as you do that. So I just want you to slowly roll through all of those points. So say that there's 3 contact points: heel, ball, toes. And just again, sort of thinking if your foot was a stamp and you wanted to leave those imprints or footprints in the floor. And there should be some work for your calves and shins as you do this. And actually you realize sort of like the point of contact as you go through these points here is actually quite small. You're quite aware of the space of the arch of the feet. Good. So when you've done another round of that, just land the feet down and let everything relax, because you might have shifted around in your spine a little bit. We're going to heel toe the feet a little wider, so that it may be as wide as the mat. And we're just going to rock out to the little toe side of the feet, so your knees drop open, and then rock across to the inner arch of the feet, so the knees drop in. So just any position with your feet that allows you to feel this. And I want you to notice if you contact the toes as you do this, or not really, or maybe it's just the big toe, the little toe. And then what we'll do is we'll add all of those movements together. So you need to keep your feet wide here. So you're going to sort of lift up onto the heels, so the feet lift away from the floor. Roll to the outer edges of the feet as you circle around. Roll forward onto the toes, onto tiptoes, then drop the knees in so you roll to the inner arches. So it's like you sort of just opening and closing the knees as you roll around the feet. Sensing what contacts, what doesn't contact the floor. And change direction. And then when you finish this last one, just walk your feet back into that start position that you were in. Again, I want to see how this feels for you. So use your toes to sort of imagine that you're trying to grip your mat. You're trying to pick up your mat with your toes. You're trying to scrunch up and pick up the mat, which isn't likely to be possible, but you just want to try and get a grip. So you're trying to pull the mat towards you, release, grip and squeeze, release. It's kind of weird, like little monkey toes. And see if it's all in your big toe, if you've got the other toes working, which toes feel stronger as you kind of grip, release, grip, release, grip, release. Okay, so that's one movement. It's like a clawing of the toes movement. Then place the toes back down, and I want you to see if you can keep the toes from doing the majority of the work here, and try and pull the ball of the foot back towards the heel. So this is a foot shortening exercise. It's an arch strengthening exercise. Your toes are going to do some work, but it's like you want to pull the ball of the foot back towards the heel. And I find this really difficult, having lived my whole life with quite flat feet. You might find this much easier than I do. The toes are going to do some work, but they're not kicking up away from the floor. See if you can do it. See if you can shorten the foot. It might be as frustrating for you as it is for me. My right foot does it a little bit, my left doesn't. Ah. See how that feels? A few more. And then relax that effort down. And then you can pick this. You can pick if you just want to go back to the heel, ball, toes with your bum on the floor. Or if you feel like a little bit more, we can set up and come into a low bridge. So just slowly peel the spine up. And when I say low bridge, we're keeping the majority of the chest on the floor. So then you can really keep, you remember I was talking about the digger scoop last week, if we were a digger and we were scooping up the sand in our pelvis. We want to find that butt squeeze. And we're just going to lift up onto the balls of the feet and then lift the balls of the feet up as we roll to the heels. So you can keep this little linear movement. Some of you might be brave enough to try and lift onto the tips of the toes. It's really hard work for the feet and the legs to do that. Forwards and backwards, and then the option of those sort of rolling around movements where you might need slightly wider knees to do that. So it's hard work. Do it at whatever level feels right. Keep your digger scoop. Change direction. And then when you come back to center, just take that slow peel down with your spine. Hug the knees up into the chest. Have a little circle around and then bring yourself over and up to seated, or you can roll up and down. Brilliant. Get into a place where you can extend your right leg out straight. If you want to extend the left leg out as well, it's fine. This might mean that you need a little lean back to get your legs to be completely straight. Okay, so I'll just show you this in the front. Don't worry about your left leg, do whatever's comfortable for you. So engage that right leg so that you feel that your quad engages, your knee engages, your shin engages. And if you're leaning back on your right hand, then you can place your left hand on the top of your shin and knee. So we're trying to support this to keep this still. I want your thigh to be still, your shin and your knee to be still. And then I just want you to move through plantar flexion of pointing that toe and dorsiflexion of drawing it back. So you'll feel the leg work, the shin work, the calf work as you point and flex that right foot. And this is the easier action. Yeah, so keep it super, super, super engaged. And then next time you pull those toes towards you, this is hard, you're going to start to turn the toes open to the right without moving your shin and knee, and then draw that big circle as you point your toes forward and then pull them back round to the left to complete the circle. So if there's any movement from your knee, from your leg, from your hip, then you're not isolating that ankle. So let's really try and move through that ankle circle as much as we can. We're going to do about 3 in one direction and then 3 in the other. So you might need to hold on to that leg to stop it moving, to stop it rolling out, to stop that movement bleeding over into something else. Good. So when you've done 3 each way, bend that right knee and pull that foot in towards you and keep those toes pointing up so the heel's on the floor. Right arm is going to wrap around your thigh. I need to pull it in a little bit more to support. Take your left hand and find those shin rotations, those knee rotations as you spin the shins side to side. You're keeping your thighs still, isolating that sort of tibia movement as you rotate side to side. If you can do this without using your hand, do it actively now. So just let the muscles of the leg do that. Shin burn is all part of this. If you want to go a little further next time, your toes point out to the right. We're going to pick up that thigh and extend the knee just as much or as little as you want to. Internally rotate and close the knee. We'll do 3 of them. Externally rotate and extend. Internally rotate and flex. 1 more. External up. Internal down. Then bring that foot to neutral. Set the foot down. If you're comfy in a combat stance, which is where you kneel on the opposite leg and come into that calf stretch, do this. If that doesn't work for you, just shift that left knee back and find a deeper lunge. It's all about the ankle stretch here. So you can use bricks and stuff, but the combat is good because you can drive more body weight into it, okay? Heel stays down as though you're trapping that winning lottery ticket or a £50 note. And I want you to see if you can find some pulses of bringing your body forwards and back to get, it might be a front ankle stretch, might be a calf, might be an Achilles stretch. Keep that heel down and really try and drive those knees forward. Don't let the heel lift, otherwise we're not stretching where we want to stretch. A few more pulses, and then I want you to feel the bottom of the pulse, that maximum movement, and hold it there. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come out of it, come back onto your bum, free up your left leg, do what you want with your right leg, and let's do the same thing here. So trapping the movement of the leg as we start with that point and flex. Pointing, flexing, just moving through that ankle joint. And I want you to notice how much your toes do here. So if we're really sort of thinking about the ankle joint, we want the toes to just be a byproduct of this. They're not trying to do all the work. When you've pointed and flexed a few times, really keep that shin where it is. Turn the foot out to the left and then circle all the way around without any compensatory sort of movement happening everywhere. And you'll feel, because your leg will want to tug, it will want to move out to the side. So you really have to stabilize that leg. 3 slow circles in one direction, 3 slow circles in the other direction. When you come back from that last one, keep the toes pointed up and bend that left knee as you slide the foot back. Wrap your left arm around your thigh, hold the thigh still, and move that left shin. And you might have to, so this is, sometimes if you've got dodgy knees or dodgy knee issues, sometimes you can only manually manipulate this. Sometimes your muscles don't do this work. So if you find that you can get more movement with your hands, then do it. If you took the hands away and just did the movement with the leg itself, it might be like, wow, it doesn't quite go as far. I'm doing a lot of work with someone whose knee doesn't do this because of surgeries and injury and stuff at the moment. So they have to manually manipulate until that gets woken up again. Good. Next time the toes point out to the left, let's lift up the leg a little. Extend the knee just any amount. Internally rotate and close the knee. 3 of them. When that foot comes back down from the third one, reset it to center and come over into either that combat stance or that lunge. Keep the heel down, get your body in a comfortable position, but where you can start to drive a little bounce. And if it's lunging, you'll just be a little bit higher up. Okay, but like I say, in a lunge, there's a little less weight that goes through the body. There's 50 pounds trapped underneath your heel. It's really windy. Don't let the wind blow away your 50-pound note. Good. And then release. No, sorry, stay at the bottom of the pulse, stay at the bottom of the pulse. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Okay, so I just want you to have a little look at something that I'm just going to show you. Hopefully you can see this as a close enough thing. So if I come back to the first side, this can be your lunge or your combat stance, right? When I pulse forward, it pushes my arch to go flat. Yeah, it pushes that inner arch, which I've got quite flat feet. I always have that. Okay, so I have to lift my arch away so that my knee, rather than sort of wanting to collapse in, has to stay at this angle, and that is a much harder work. Does that make sense? Yeah, so I want you to come back to side one. When we sort of dive into that pulse, we can get a sense of collapse in the arch of the foot. So think about, I talk about the foot tripod a lot. Think about those 2 points in the ball of the foot and your heel, and you should feel much more work around the muscles down here. Yeah, does that make sense? If it does, give me a thumbs up, and if it doesn't, give me a thumbs down. Yeah, okay, cool. Yes, love a thumbs up. Okay, so you can feel more of the stabilizing stuff working to stop that collapse. Yeah, it's harder work. Perhaps you don't go so far. Good. And then let's switch sides. Let's explore that the other side. So I feel loads more work in my calf and my shins. I do that. So even though we can kind of like collapse a little bit more, try and maintain that lift. The lift is big toe mound is down, little toe mound is down, heel is down. But wow, do we make things work a little bit harder by not sort of falling into that collapse. Good work. And release that. So if you just find either end of your mat, it doesn't matter which end of your mat you're going to use, you're going to roll it up to maybe about a third of the mat. Maybe you could, it depends on how thick your mat is, just so you've got a roll that's not going to ping open. You're going to come up to standing. My roll is going to ping open, and I just want you to stand on that roll. Okay, so any part of your feet can stand on that rolled mat. I'm going to go with feet about hip width because I feel more balanced there. Okay, so we've got different size mats, we've got different size rolls, and I just want you to start a weight shift. Okay, so I'm moving my body weight forwards, and then I'm moving my body weight back, and it's a tiny little movement. Okay, body's aboard. And then I just, you know, in my case, when I move back, my toes aren't on the floor at all. So again, this is roll and mat dependent. Just feel the reactive work in your legs. Good. And then like we did in the bridge, we're going to bend the knees slightly and roll outer edge to inner edge of the feet, outer edge to inner edge. So it's kind of like the funky chicken, but worse, looks much worse. Wonderful. Funky chicken, funky chicken. You could go wider knees if you want to explore more movement for sure. Good. Bring it back to center, come upright, and then we're going to walk back a little. So just the balls of the feet and the toes are on the roll. Without sticking your bum out, gently bend your knees so you feel that calfy, shinny stretch as you sort of move into that slight dorsiflex position here. Oh. See how that feels? Straighten the legs back up and then walk your feet forward so your heels are on that roll. So you've got that little kitten heel, little high heel on. Keep your toes forward, your feet hip width. Push your knees forward by bending. You can stop here, or you can reach your arms forward, and then you can start that hinge of the hips as you drop into any depth squat that you like, any depth. And then slowly, I want you to lift with your chest, not your bum. So let your chest lift first, don't stick your bum out as you come up. Right, so this is a parallel foot squat, feet are forward. Your choice, Kay is a master of this. If you think you could go a narrower stance, I can't, my body is, actually might be able to today, so that your feet can either be fully together or not quite. You bend the knees as the first part of the squat, you reach the arms out of the way, and then you come into that feet together squat, which, it's really easy for some body types, not for mine. Good. Lift with your chest and come up. Okay, do it again with the thing that challenged you more. With wider feet harder, with feet together harder. Take your time, knees push forward, then bum goes back. Any amount of depth here. You can go all the way to the squat, but I want you to notice how much your upper body is doing. When you come back up, don't lift that butt first. Come up. Okay, good. And then just shake it out. Just let me just show you this quickly. Let me show you this quickly. Okay, so when you come down and you're in your squat, you push to lift the chest up. Okay, because what's happening is this. I'm going to lift my bum and then I'm going to lift my chest, which is easy. Yeah, and that's what we do as a forward bend pattern. So try it one more time without your bum doing the first bit, without your hips doing the first bit. Okay, it's harder work for your legs, but that's what we're into today. Yeah, better as you come up. Good. Undo your roll of the mat when you come up and just flatten out your mat. You're going to root your right leg as your front leg, and you're going to step your left foot back, but it's a really short stance so that heel can be down. Okay, that heel is down. You're going to take a little bend with that right knee, and then we're going to just work on that back leg ankle. So make sure that heel's down, have your stance as wide as you need to. I'm going to roll in to the big toe side. I'm going to roll out to the little toe side. So I'm just moving that back ankle, the back leg will move, the back hip will move. Does it feel easier with a straight leg, or does it feel better with a bent knee? I don't know. You've got to explore that. So we're just trying it again. It's about that foot imprint as we smoosh and squish and roll that back ankle side to side. Good. Bring it into that natural neutral point where you're neither in or out. See how that feels. Lean your chest forwards and step that back foot forwards. Do the same thing on that right side. Step it back, not particularly long or deep, where you feel safe, where you're wide enough, and then start that rolling in and out. See if your front leg can stay quite still. It's not being pulled along in this little funky dance. It really is about that back leg. Bent knee, straight knee, doesn't matter. Where can you access that movement? Good. Bring it to that neutral point where you're like, yeah, I'm not doing either. See if you can connect that into your back leg glute, if that feels like it's working. Take a little lean forward and step forwards. Stand on both feet. Your choice if they're together or hip width apart, just different. You can, I always work hip width, so I'm going to go with my feet together today. Sense your tripods. Ball of the foot, 2 points, heel, 1 point. And see if you can just weight shift into working all of those pressure points evenly. Okay, if you want to come near a wall, back of a chair or something, we're going to lift up the right foot. We're going to lift up that right knee. So if you need something to hold on to, please hold on to something. Okay, as I'm going to hold on to something. And you can hold on with either hand, whichever's easier. When you've initially lifted that knee up, there's going to be that moment where you have to re-establish your tripod in that left leg. Okay, so let's just take our time to find relative balance here. Good. Keep that right leg lifted, keep that left hip point forward, open that right knee out to the right. There will be another shift. It's opened out to the side here. Lift that knee in towards the shoulder, point your right foot and place the foot where it lands against your leg in your tree pose. Hold or don't hold. If the foot's landed next to the knee, it's not going to explode. See if you can find a little tuck of the pelvis forward so that your left glute, your standing leg, engages. Root that right foot against that firm left leg and see if you can open that knee a little more without turning your hips. So opening it away from the legs. Holding if you need balance. If you feel safe, hands in prayer or hands overhead, or one arm can do this. And just sort of sense the reactive wobbling, because the brilliant thing about balance is it's not still, it's reactive. Find a gaze point where you aren't interrupting your balance. It might be eye height, it might be slightly lower, mine's slightly lower than mine. Good. All the fluctuations, all the balance, all the work, wherever it's felt, hold for 5, 3, 2, 1. We're going to pick that foot up, knee out to the side. Knee comes forward, foot lands down. If your feet were together, bring them back together. If they were hip width, leave them hip width. Feel it. You'll feel this like, it's almost like pressure change, like these two little pressure chambers where your left leg that's had all the work will take a little time to calm down. The right leg will, and eventually that sort of sense in both legs starts to even out again. Yeah, neutralizes. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So if you're holding, just take your hand or your fingers to the thing that you're holding. Pick up that left knee. Give your right leg time to work out that it's holding your body weight. Check in that if your toes are over gripping or balance is difficult, you're using some support, it's fine. You're using as little support as you can, but as much as you need. Does that make sense? So rather than gripping the wall with dear life, you're like, okay, maybe I can just hold it with a couple of fingers. Lift that left knee out to the side, away from that right hip point. Lift it as high as you can, point the toes, and land the foot where it lands, whatever angle it lands against that part of the right leg. Tuck your pelvis forward, squeeze your right bum, firm up that right leg. Your hips aren't moving, but you might find there's a little bit more opening to be found through that left knee. You can reach the arms up, you can have the hands in prayer. But I want you to think as though the power of this pose is your standing leg bump, your standing leg glute. And that's the point of stability. And your ankle can fluctuate a little bit. You know, there can be adaptations to the balance, and when the fatigue sets in, maybe it's ankle fatigue, calf fatigue, hip fatigue, who knows? Just find your breath. Good, we'll go one more breath. Don't rush out of this. I want you to pick up that foot off of the leg, bring that knee forwards, and then set the feet down. If they were together, set them together and just be like, oh, wait for that. Ooh, equilibrium. Where they suddenly go, oh yeah, I can take a little rest now. Okay, so you can do this holding the wall. You can do this without. Okay, we're going to start to add a little bit more sort of dynamic movement into this. So let's go back exactly as we did on that first leg. So mine's my left leg. We're going to take that right knee up. We're going to open that right foot. And we're going to pause for a few breaths in our tree pose, just wherever it is. It's up to you if you take the arms up or hands to prayer. But don't rush, and hold something if you need to hold something, okay? Hold something if you need to. Whoa. I'm going to fall over. Good. This time, instead of coming back to standing, we're going to lift that right foot off. We're going to do that little slow ninja kick. Start to bend that left knee and step back into your lunge, your high lunge, so you're just on the ball of that back foot. Okay? So give yourself that time. You can still hold on if you're holding on. Okay? The back knee is going to have a little bend in it. The front knee is going to have a big bend. We're going to hinge at the hips to straighten that back leg as we reach forward. So just reach forward. If your hands are too much here, pop them on the hips. As you bend the back knee, let that pull your chest back upright. 2 more of those. Arms anywhere. Straightening to hinge and reach. Bending to lift back up again. 1 more. When you come back up, holding the wall or not, we're going to pick up that back foot, open the knee to the side. Instead of resting in tree, we'll just bring it all the way forwards and down. So we've done like a hip circle. Cool. Same thing other side. Hold if you're holding. Get the balance into that right foot as you pick up the left. Open the knee to the side. Find that tree. Have a few breaths here just so you can communicate with your right foot. Arms are wherever you want the arms to be. Pick up that left foot. Continue to open the knee back as you bend your right knee and land the ball of that left foot. Find the little bend of that knee. Remember, you can move your feet if they're not perfect, shift them about. And then as you straighten that back leg, hinge, find that neutral spine as you reach forward. Your belly will touch your thigh. As you bend, see if it can come from the hip movement. Just like when we did the squat, we want the chest to lift. So it's not that the bum lifts first, the chest lifts to pull us up. Good. Third one, go for it. Any arms, remember. Reach forwards as you straighten that back leg. Reach, reach, reach. And then as you come back up, the back knee bends. Straighten that front leg as you pick up that back foot. Bring it through that circle all the way around, forwards and down. Good. And then just shake it out. Shake it out. Shake it out. You're going to need one brick. And if you don't have a brick, or if you want to keep holding the wall, you're going to hold the wall. Okay, so I'm going to place that brick just ahead of my right foot. Okay, not too far away because we're going to need it in a second. All right, same movement pattern. Holding, don't hold. When you're ready, your right foot will lift. It will open, pause in tree. Funky arms, any arms. Just find the balance of your left foot. It should become a little less muscular effort, but you're holding the wall if you need to. Pick up that right foot, bend that left knee, take it back to that tiptoe lunge or ball of the foot lunge. Good. Remember, you can have hands in prayer, hands on hips. You don't need those arms up. As you straighten that back leg and hinge, I want you to reach your right arm down. The brick should be there. Light on the toes of that that right foot. Maybe the right foot can lift up. Your right hand is on the brick. Your left hand can be on the hip. And if you want to keep that back toe down, you can. Your left leg can be bent or it can be straight. Hold it. Breathe. Bend that left knee to land those right toes down. As you reach your arms up, pick up that right foot, open the knee to the side and step it forwards and down. Ha ha! I wasn't watching you, so I have no idea if you did it. I'm watching for the second side. Okay, so if you just scooch the brick over to the left so that it's in front of the left foot, it's kind of there when we need it. If you're using the wall, you don't need the brick. Good. Right foot's the standing foot. We pick up that left knee. We open that left knee to the side and we lift the knee and land the foot there. Tree. And just explore this. Maybe you're holding the wall and you can let go for a few seconds here and there, which is also cool. Maybe you're quite confident and your arms are up, but just wherever you're working today, be there. Pick up that left foot, big circle back as you land into that lunge. Move your feet if they're not right. Find the lunge, remember hands to hips if we're taking life a little bit easier today. As you straighten that back knee and hinge forward, you can bring your left hand down to the brick and you can move the brick. You can come light onto those left tiptoes, right hand hip, right hand forward, and if you want to lift that left leg up. Good, hold it. We're going for about 5 breaths. You can explore having your standing leg as a little more bent or a little more straight. You can explore lifting the back leg higher or keeping it where it is. Good. Few more breaths. And then we'll do this in a snazzy little maneuver. So bend that front knee, land back to that high lunge. Once you've established that back leg down, you can reach the arms up, lean forward slightly, pick that foot up, round, forwards, and down, and just stand on 2 feet. Enjoy 2 feet. 2 feet are lovely. Breathe. Good work. You're going to take that brick, and if you don't have a brick, you're just going to do this on the floor. We're going to stand on the brick, so I do want you to use the wall as little as you need, but as much as you need. If that makes sense. As little as you can, but as much as you need. That's the word I'm looking for. So if I just show you this one quickly, because this can be a little explorative, I'm going to make sure that my heel is on the brick, even if my toes are off. Okay? If your foot's just on the floor, you can still do this. So I'm going to bring up my other foot level, and I'm going to think about this tissue that's in the outside of this leg as moving that foot towards the floor. It's not about touching the floor. The knee stays straight, and then lifting that foot back up beyond neutral. So we're going to do, see why I need to hold on? We're going to do hip dips, watch. We're going to do hip dips for about 8. If you're comfy with hip dips, after 8, yeah, you're going to do a lifted leg hip dip for another 8. So I'm going to drop the foot down. As I lift up, I'm going to open that leg. I'm going to bring it in and down. So we're doing 16 altogether. You can add in these star ones for the second 8, or just continue. If you don't have a brick, just lift the foot away from the floor and back. Remember, your standing leg is straight. So some of you have started, so just do this at your own pace. 8 in what we call quite neutral, and then 8 out to the side lifts and down. Good. Hold something if you need to, because it's very frustrating if you can't get the balance. I definitely can't on my sprained knee side. Remember, your standing leg stays straight. It's a hip, whoop, whoop, a hip shift. Funky dance move. Good. So if you're doing the leg lifts, keep those toes forwards rather than externally rotating the leg. Good. Yeah. So it's not about leg height necessarily, it's about keeping those toes forward. So I could lift the leg much higher if I turn the toes to the ceiling, but I want those toes forwards. So when you've done 16 on leg 1, switch sides, do 16 on leg 2. Remember to just set up your balance. So the little dips are a little more subtle, but they sort of provide us with the base framework. Good. I know you'll probably hate me by the end of this class, but you know, I'll take it. Yeah. And then the sort of 16, make it, it's not momentum. It's control. I want your chest to be upright. It's very easy to flare to the side. Keep your chest upright as much as you can so that we work into that outer hip. Really good. When you've done your 16, just stand on both feet and enjoy it. Come off the brick. Good. And just have a relative, let that, that pressure settle, let that effort settle. And just see now if your feet feel a little bit more connected, if you feel a little bit more able to stand quite evenly. Okay. So we're gonna try this little slightly exploratory thing. And if you want to go back to holding the wall, boom, boom, tree, boom, boom, lunge, boom, boom, warrior 3. Yeah, do it. So the way to better train balance, and balance is not stillness. Take that out. Okay. Balance is adapting to the current environment and navigating your way through it. That's balance. All right. So if I show you this one, I'm going to do the same movement pattern, lift leg, open, but I'm going to allow my body to fall around, as in like, sorry, my ball's too close to me, as in move around a little bit more as I sort of bring myself into that warrior three. As I lift the leg out to the side, I'm going to lean, going off center to take it up, round and forwards. And I'm going to explore that movement up to sort of 5 or 6 times. I want to fatigue my standing leg. Okay, you can do this holding the wall, using it as little as you can, but as much as you need. But purposefully move out of alignment. That's how our body adapts. Okay, so if you would rather stay linear and you'd rather use your grip and you'd rather do what we just did, then do it. But if we go for more, if we go into that fatigue in the leg, looks really good, then we're sort of working our endurance a little bit more. We'll make our still balances better by doing them dynamically. Yeah. And by allowing ourselves to go off center, we train more hip muscles, we train more ankle muscles. Good. Get it to fatigue in your leg and do one more. And if you want to add in any snazzy extra bits like a straight leg version of this all the way, you can do more of a sort of skater movement with a straight leg version. Be patient with your not so strong side. Explore the difference perhaps between a bent and a straight standing leg. See if there is a same point when you feel unstable, when you feel wobbly. Good. Those of you that fall into crazy, don't care for your own health and safety bracket, I know there's a few of you, you could change your environment by standing on your grip. But obviously, I didn't tell you to do this. So you could explore with a little bit more instability underneath your foot. If you wanted to, just for a couple of rounds, have a little playtime. You could even try that on that roll of the mat to change the foot environment. But if you fall in the category of person that really does not like balance, there would be no point in changing your, your environment. Awesome. And then when you're like, I'm done, I can't do any more of this, stand on 2 feet. Find your Tadasana. And what's really interesting is sometimes when we have done some balancing stuff and we come back to 2 feet, the body's like, whoa, I'm used to being on one leg. It's just going to take you a little moment to appreciate the two, to sort of bring it back into that equilibrium, into that balance. Okay. But this is entirely up to you if you want to have a go at this. So you can come back to, do you remember when we rooted this leg and we rolled in to out? You can come back to a few rounds of that. Yeah, and just practice that. If you feel a little bit safer, you can hold a wall. I'm going to cross the legs and explore being on those little toe side of the feet. So I haven't got a particularly close cross at first, I've got a wide cross. So then I'm going to bend the knees and reach the arms forward and explore, woo, coming down into my cross-legged, which for some of you is easy. I say easy loosely, and then I want you to get back up again. Yeah, so if you know that that's not what your knees or your body wants, just come back to these, because it's still working the same pattern. And if you're like quite comfy, I find it very difficult with my left leg on top, you kind of have to work out what leg on top is more stable. And if there's a collapse moment at the bottom, there will be. But if you're like extra torture for the last couple of minutes, go as slow as you physically can. Go as slow as you can, particularly through that drop movement. Like when you land your bum, you want to land silently. Yeah, if you're just working one leg at a time, do that. A few rounds of that. Yay! Can you get back up or not? Can you get back up with the help of your hands? Whew. Well done. I want you to come down on your favorite or tricky side. And then we'll just stay down for this one, which is probably what you want. Sit with your feet out in front of you, with a bend of your knees so that your feet are pressing down into the floor. I want you to see if you can push down your toes and just sort of maintain the contact of the toes. You can do this walk back with your hands. You can do this walk back holding the backs of your knees, or you can roll down, but I want your toes to stay down, your toes to stay down. Do not let those toes lighten up at any point of the roll down. You can stay down, or you can push your upper back into the floor, your mid back into the floor, and roll back up again. Maybe your feet need to be a little further back or a little further forward, but if you want to, we'll try it 2 or 3 times. If you just want to try it once, try it once. When you eventually get down from your last one, have a little celebration. You can hug your knees up onto the chest. You can either cross your ankles and see if you can reach your hands around for your outer feet. So I've got the hands wrapped around the little toe sole. If that doesn't work, just hold around the backs of your legs. Okay. So you can find this little cross of the shins. So I'm sort of mimicking a Sukhasana position here, as I've got. Or those of you that have got a little bit more in you, you can cross at the thighs, hold the feet, and sort of mimic a Garudasana or a bit of an eagle position. And it's a pretty deep hip stretch, this one. So, oh yeah. We're going to do a few breaths. I like to rock. You might like to stay still. We'll do a few breaths on each side. So across the shins, across the ankles, across the thighs. And I'm sort of trying to lift my feet level with the knees. Okay, let's change sides. Any cross. No strain on the knees, no knee pressure. But this one, this is a nice, what's that called? Nice piriformis stretch. Everyone loves a piriformis stretch. When you've done both sides, you're just going to undo the legs and just do anything else you want to before you come into stillness. You might feel the need for a twist. Just do any body release. And then you can bring yourself into your Shavasana. It is nice if it's good in your body. So maybe do a Baddha Konasana. Soles of feet together, knees wide. You can support this. So just keep our connection to our feet going. If you don't like it, don't do it. Just settling your body and allowing for soft breath. Feeling whatever it is you feel from the practice in your body, the effort, fatigue, work. And then breath by breath, releasing the practice, letting the practice go. Very softly, very gently, let those breaths deepen. You feel like you want to reach into that full body stretch, arms along the floor, legs out long. And if you want to, you can hug the knees to the chest, or you can just do a lazy roll over from here. Bring yourself into an easy seat. And if that is cross-legged, and that's comfortable for you, just gently push into those sort of outer edges of the feet. If you're sitting elsewhere, just be comfortable. Bringing the palms together. Slow breath in. And slow breath out. Namaste. Thank you.